Women make less than men in almost every industry.
If we are doing the same thing and have the same credentials, whether we are a man or a woman, black or white, we should be getting paid the same amount.
Women are earning around 79 cents to every man's dollar. That adds up over days, over months, over years, and can end up in women losing tens of thousands of dollars in their career, if not more. 1 in 7 women live in poverty. That is 18 million women. In Maryland alone, 10.3% of women live in poverty.
11% of women think that equal pay is the most important issue. With the increasing media coverage of the wage gap, it is serving as a gatekeeper, and more people will think it is an important issue. An example of such media growth is Jennifer Lawrence.
Because we need to talk about it. On average, women are paid 21% less than men. We can ask for the same exact thing as that men do. And we do face the reality that we do get judged more. It's just something that is intrinsic, and I would love to see change.
Again, the flick from John Stein loose.
When the U.S. women's soccer team won the World Cup last year, they drew the highest TV ratings for any soccer game in American history, men or women. They also got a nice parade and a bonus from the U.S. Soccer Federation of $75,000 for each player, according to the filing. Compare that to the men's team. If they won a World Cup, they'd get more than $390,000 as a first-place bonus. Hope Solo, one of the 5 players to sign the complaint, told CBS This Morning that has to change.
And you know what? This is a time that we need to push for equality and we need to push for what's right. And people are paying attention.
The women's team says it generates as much as or more revenue than the men, but get paid 4 times less.
In 2014, there were 251,000 female lawyers, 284,000 doctors, 134,000 marketing analysts, and nearly 1.4 million women serving in the military.
It is downright sexism to pay somebody less for the same work because of the gender.
We cannot grow the economy and get wages rising unless we end the unequal pay that women in the workplace are still suffering under. Laws don't crack down on employers who intimidate their workers into not sharing information about their wages and threatening retaliation if they do. How do you know you're not being paid equally if you can't get information about what your work colleagues are being paid for doing the same job? The most famous case of this was the Lilly Ledbetter case.
The 4 first names, Lily and 3 men. And when I looked and saw how much those men were making, base pay only, just base pay, I just felt so degraded. I don't think I've ever had a lower point.
For the next 10 years, Lilly fought to close the wage gap. After using lobbying as a way to get her agenda achieved, as well as litigation, Lilly won a $3 million verdict in the federal court that was later overturned by the Supreme Court, since the Supreme Court is the highest court in the judicial branch.
President Obama exercised his power of executive order to nullify the Supreme Court's decision. On January 29, 2009, he signed into law the Lilly Ledbetter Fair Pay Act. This law allows individuals who face pay discrimination to seek justice under federal anti-discrimination laws. The law clarifies that every time an unfair paycheck is given, it is contributing to the overall discrimination.
The Lilly Ledbetter case started a movement towards equal pay that is being continued by the proposition of the Paycheck Fairness Act.
That's what the Paycheck Fairness Bill deals with. Right now, there is a veil of secrecy in businesses all over America, a veil of secrecy about the fact that you cannot ask a fellow employee what they're making. You're not supposed to talk about your salary. You can talk about anything, but you can't talk about what the person next to you is making. The second thing is if you in any way, particularly if you're a woman, try to speak up for your rights to get equal pay for the same job, same pay, same job, you're often retaliated against. And then businesses come up with lots of loopholes, which are bad. They use business explanations as bad excuses to avoid paying equal pay for equal work.
Women have been fighting this fight for a very long time, and things are going slow, seeing as this act has been shut down 3 times by the Republican Party. The party has filibustered this act, stopping its movement. It's a good sign that the act even made it this far, seeing as most bills are killed in committee. Partisanship and gridlock between the Congressional Majority Party and the Democrats slow the progress of this bill and others similar to it.
It is astonishing that we still need to have this conversation.